Hey. So hello everybody. This is the second time we've done this. So our duly noted climate show. We're not entirely sure on the name still, but here we are. So my name is Marion. I'm a senior project officer with the Highlands and Islands Climate Hub, and we are joined by Joan Laurie. I'm getting distracted because she's wandering around. We're joined by Joan Laurie, who is our hub manager, who is in Inverness today for Climate Week and for the Highland Climate Festival.
Hi, sorry, I was moving around because Climate Week is all about what's happening now and what we leave for future generations, and I was trying to wrangle a 1-year-old at the same time as talk to you. So that's what was going on.
There's the multitasking of the hub manager.
Yeah, exactly
so
that.
we wanted to use this couple of sort of 10 short informal video for a discussion around Scottish Climate Week, which is this week. So today is the 25th of September. Scottish Climate Week started on Monday and runs until the end of the week, which coincides with the very last week of our Highlands and Islands Climate Festival, which ends on Monday the 30th of September. Now, Scottish Climate Week is a Scottish Government national campaign, and the theme of Climate Week is climate stories. And so Joan and I actually had an informal discussion around usually a far less highbrow discussion around what was watching on telly. But this particular occasion, it was around the Let's Do Net Zero campaign that Scottish Government have recently had on around kind of that dinner time, prime time television slots. So I think, and what did I call it now? I did look it up earlier. I think it's called the Do It For Yourself campaign. And that kind of sparked interesting conversation around how the hub came about, came to fruition, and this kind of emphasis on doing it for ourselves, doing it for future generations. So yeah, Joan, can you tell us a bit about what that sparked in you when you saw those adverts?
So what I liked about those adverts, to anybody who hasn't seen them, is that it tells us, so there's a big booming voice that talks about that there's a lady that's walking through a park, and there's a big booming voice that talks about how I can't remember what her name is, Deirdre for the sake of example, is meeting Scotland's net zero targets by not taking her car that day. And actually she responds kind of puzzledly and says, well, actually I enjoy fresh air and I'm saving money on petrol. And then they do a similar kind of framing where it's about her insulating her house, and again, big booming voice, all the technical information about how you're meeting targets. And actually she's like, but actually I'm just warm and cozy in my house. I like being warm and cozy in my house. And it struck me that it's very much about like the story of when we started the hub, about what we kind of initially positioned the hub as, and how we still position it, is that we're not just doing climate action for the sake of doing climate action, although that is very, very important, but it's actually more about community needs. And I think that most of the community groups and organisations that we work with, ourselves included, would very much tell the story that, so say, for example, Community Fridge, is that, yeah, we're taking action and reducing food waste, but we're also helping people in our community who might be struggling for food. And that those stories thread throughout everything. I mean, at the moment, definitely energy, we're seeing that the price cap is going back up again. So definitely we've got a lot of communities that are looking at what could potentially be a local district heating system. And that is a very climate action, climate focused activity that will reduce emissions by having those district heating systems, but also will save people in our communities money and help combat the cost of living crisis. So I think it really much brings about that these stories are by having by looking towards like having a healthier planet, by looking after people, that's very much about the kind of social aspects around climate change, and by us also making our places better places to live and work and visit, particularly I think with the emphasis on live for our rural communities.
Absolutely. I remember watching it, and we'll put the link in the post when we share this video as well, so you can see it as well. But it was almost like the character Deirdre, as Joan called her,
That might be something else. So
I don't know. We're calling her
yeah.
Deirdre just now. But it was almost like she was sort of, but it's common sense that yes, I'm not taking my car to work for X reason, but I'm also saving money on petrol. That, that is what maybe that was her driving factor. Maybe it was the climate, maybe it was financially driven. But all these things, regardless of initial intention, are helping us collectively to take climate action. So it was just a cool way to kind of highlight that and to share that. So yeah, we recommend checking those out. That one was after, I think it was the 6 o'clock news, but we've found them on YouTube this morning. So yeah, we'll share them in the post here as well. So as I mentioned, the Scottish Climate Week is taking place in the very last week of the Highlands and Islands Climate Festival. There has been an abundance of events and activities throughout the month. I know that all the development officers have been busy encouraging communities to participate, attending events, hosting their own events. It has been a really busy month, and it's been really inspiring to see what's been going on. Just this week, actually, Joan and I have both been attending events. Joan's in Inverness, as I say, so she has been at the Highlands Spotlight event yesterday through Inverness Chamber, because it's also Highland Business Week. So could you give us a very brief update on how you got on yesterday, John?
So yesterday was a really good, really busy day. Lots of connecting. So the Highland Spotlight event, lots and lots of stands, lots of businesses there, lots of community organisations, lots of young enterprise there as well, which is really, really good to see. And it was really good to see as well the young enterprise and the developing the young workforce stands that were there. That most of those stands were actually looking at some form of, like, whatever their business was, their enterprise was, there was some form of circularity to it, which was really interesting and really, really good to see. But also lots of links and lots of connections made, and lots of discussions around that. The community sector is one sector, the business and the private sector is another, public sector is another, but we all need to work together. And also that just really highlighting that we've got really shared goals amongst us. There wasn't, I don't think, a business there that I spoke to that wasn't thinking about how they adopt net zero, how they become more environmentally friendly, from solicitors to marketing companies. Like it was a really, really positive day and very high up on the agenda.
Excellent. I think this is one of the ways in which we understand the meaning of community, because we talk about our communities, but actually those communities involve everybody, whether that's businesses, individuals, community organizations in its traditional sense, but actually it's everything. So it's really important to expand the conversation.
Sorry, I'm just carry on talking because I got very excited about a point there. I think that was one of the key messages as well, was that particularly in, I mean, it applies to a lot of rural Scotland, but that in Highlands, community and business are not things that are separate. Like, quite often our communities rely on whatever business is there, but also quite often businesses are services and facilities for the community. Even if you think about like the local hotels, they're meeting places, they're places that people can come together. So things are not mutually separate.
Yeah, absolutely. Very quickly, I'll give a quick update on the event that I attended yesterday. So I went to the Circular Community Scotland Highland Members Forum yesterday. It took place in Nairn in the Siemens Hall, and then we enjoyed a visit to the Green Hive workshop as well. So it was a really good day. I mean, a really good day in terms of discussion. It was absolutely lashing rain the whole day, but we were inside, so that was okay. We had presentations from Green Hive themselves, from the Highland Community Waste Partnership, and specifically on the Highland Repair Directory that they launched within the Highland Climate Festival, and a presentation from the Highland Way, which is the cafe, vegetarian cafe and refill shop in Nairn High Street. So each presenter kind of gave an update on where they are and next steps for their organisation. And then we had a group discussion around just general topics, what was going on, what barriers were people experiencing, and how can we work together kind of across the network more collaboratively. And there was some really interesting points around kind of data. What it's like statistics, that's maybe more what I'm thinking, trying to explain, is statistics gathering and what is then done with that information when they submit it to organisations like ourselves, like Circular Communities Scotland, and how does government use that information. So that was a really interesting topic of discussion, and it was really cool to make some new connections. I was joined by Fiona, who is our new development officer in that area. So it was cool for her to attend in a hub capacity. And yeah, for me to meet some new contacts as well. And then we went along to the Green Hive workshop, where it was fascinating. And they kind of they talked us through the activities that they do, the projects that they cover. And then they kind of spoke a little bit about the intricacies around the projects and how just like anything, but like the legalities and the kind of things that we have to do to be compliant, and plastic recycling, SEPA, all these sorts of things. And it was really, really interesting. So a really enjoyable day, and just some real food for thought to take away to kind of understand the challenges and the celebrations that each of these community organizations are going through on a monthly, daily, weekly basis, you know. So yeah, I had a really great time. And now I'm back in the office in Thurso and writing up notes. And I've already emailed Circular Community Scotland about their Highland Forum for next time. Would they like would like for us to be involved again? So yeah, good, lots to take away.
Good stuff. Yeah, I still have not managed to visit the workshop in Green Hive, which I desperately have on my list. Whereas today I'm going to spend some time in nature in Inverness, in one of the many woodland settings. I think Inverness feels a really fortunate place once you get out into the suburbs, that there's just linked by wood to wood to wood to wood. So yeah,
excellent.
On a day like today, with the last of the sunshine that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Make the most of it.
Yep.
I guess on that note, then we can leave it there, and I'm sure we'll be back with our next climate show in the coming weeks. And if there's anything that you're particularly interested in or want us to discuss, or if you're interested in coming on and discussing with us in one of these kind of informal discussions, then please do just let us know. But for now, we will leave you in peace and let Joan soak up the nature of Inverness.
Yeah, but definitely please get in touch. But I think it'd be really good to hear from some of our members and their stories. We put one of these out, and then we didn't do it regularly, but we're definitely going to do it regularly. Definitely.
We'll speak to you soon, everybody.
Thanks, bye.